edition of the Dixie Sun News at Noon. I'm Kiera Parham.
And I'm Hannah Hickman. Thanks for tuning in.
Governor Herbert announced a mask mandate, and here's what you need to know. Casual gatherings are limited to household only until November 23rd. Masks are required while in a public area, including restaurants. Extracurricular activities, including intramurals, are on hold until further notice. Here's what the Dean of Students, Del Beatty, had to say.
With the governor now saying that he wants every student on every college campus in Utah tested every week. He's mandating that all colleges implement a program, and we're going to. So that'll all be rolled out in the next week or two, and there's a great committee, and they're doing an awesome job at getting it ready. So,
to get tested for COVID-19, you don't even have to leave campus. The Atwood Innovation Plaza is now home to Rapid Testing Center, a drive-up service that provides next-day results for saliva COVID testing. The center is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. With no doctors ordered required, drive-up patients are served on a first-come, first-served basis. Testing is administered on the west side of the Innovation Plaza by the yellow cones.
As of this morning, Utah has had 139,720 confirmed cases of coronavirus. Statewide, the death toll has reached 687. There are 53 confirmed COVID-19 cases amongst DSU students, faculty, and staff, all of whom are self-isolating. This fall, DSU has had a total of 306 confirmed and recovered cases.
Utah teachers' unions are calling for remote learning. As COVID cases are on the rise, more teachers are concerned about the impact the virus will have in the classroom. The Utah Education Association urges Governor Gary Herbert to suspend extracurricular activities. The university still has plans to have in-class learning throughout the semester.
For now, you can still enroll in-person classes for the spring. This is the time for register for classes already here. Next week, enrollment for spring 2021 will begin on Monday for seniors and will open for each day for the next grade. Students will have the option of online, in-person, or hybrid classes.
With southern Utah COVID cases rising, businesses are taking precautions and are limiting the amount of toilet paper and disinfectants customers can buy. Kroger, the parent company of Smith's, reinstated their 2-item limit, and Albertsons followed with the same policy. Walmart and Lynn's have no restriction on toilet paper, but both have a 2-item limit on disinfectants. Harmon's does not currently have a limit on either items. However, a store clerk stated that they rarely have cleaning products in stock.
A new DSU survey will help determine if the university may change its name. The survey gives participants some local history surrounding the Dixie name, along with some viewpoints, both in favor of the name change and those against it. The data collected from the survey will help determine the course of action for potential university name change.
In restructuring the DSU strategic plan, one goal has fallen through the cracks. Despite several communities pushing for on-campus daycare, it has been removed from the plan going forward. Faculty Senate member Lisa Welch says that a survey from last November said that although there was a desire for it, there was not a need because of the sufficient resources in the community.
Looking to embrace new culture? Look no further. Local company Siva Pacifica is establishing a dance studio in January, regardless of age, gender, or background. The company currently has 6 classes eligible to join, teaching students traditional dances from Pacific Islands of Hawaii, Samoa, Tahiti, and New Zealand. For more information or to join one of the Siva Pacifica classes, you can go to www.sivapacifica.com.
Moab residents awoke with a shake early Sunday morning. The U.S. Geological Survey and the University of Utah Seismology Station reported a 3.9 magnitude earthquake southeast of Moab, occurring around 4:20 a.m. Currently, there have been no reports of any damage or injury from the quake. Growing up in Southern California, I've experienced my fair share of earthquakes, and I'm relieved to hear that there's no damage.
Me not having to ever experience one, I'm sure it's super scary and that I probably would never want to experience one.
After the break, Michael has an interview with the swim coach, Tamber McAllister.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How was it? Is it good?
Welcome back. The DSU women's swim team made its Division I debut last weekend against Brigham Young University. Yesterday, I sat down with women's swim head coach Tamara McAllister to talk more about how the dual meet went against BYU and how it feels to be the first DSU program to begin the D1 era.
The Division I era for DSU.
I think there's a lot of excitement with the university and making this transition, and all the athletes are excited to start competing. Our athletes felt especially grateful that they had the chance to compete, just not knowing what COVID's effect would be. And so they were super excited about it.
So speaking of COVID, what was following the COVID-19 protocols like for your team in order to have this season?
So our athletic department has done a good job just putting tests into place when needed, and just taking a few extra precautions. Typically when we have an athlete that's sick, sometimes we tell them to tough it out, and obviously this is a year not to do that. So our athletes have done a good job communicating and keeping in touch with the coaches if they had any kind of symptoms or anything. So everybody did a good job following the protocol, and the school did a good job keeping us safe. So
That's always great news to hear, that everybody on the team, even you, are staying healthy. That's always great to hear. So what were practices like from the beginning of the fall semester leading up to the first meet of the season?
So most years we are able to start practices about the end of the first week of school. And we were just delayed an extra week or so. We're lucky where our sport is non-contact and actually transmit in chlorine. And so, it makes it a little more safe for us to do what we do. We just kind of had to keep our distance from each other. So
what were the emotions like for your team heading into the dual meet against BYU?
They were just super excited to race. Like I said, there's just been so many changes with COVID and not knowing if certain teams were going to be able to race against us. And if, this meet would actually happen. Different meets have already been canceled. So, we told them that they just had to get after it right away and go for it. We don't know how many chances we'll get to compete, if certain contests will be canceled. And so they just needed to be aggressive right from the beginning. And, they definitely were excited for it and stepped up to take that challenge.
So overall, how do you think your team did, how they performed for the first meet of the season and get that out of the way? And speaking of standout swimmers, Haley Altman, WAC Swimmer of the Week. That's for a freshman, for her first collegiate meet. That's got to be some exciting news for her.
Yeah, for sure. They did a great job stepping up, and we, they were prepared, they were trained well, and so it's kind of been pent up a little bit, waiting for the first meet, and they did a great job putting it all out there. Obviously, Haley did a great job. She broke the record, the school record. When we recruited her last year, we knew she would be a standout swimmer. And, we have high hopes for a lot of our incoming freshmen, as well as our returners to compete in the WAC. So we were excited to see how they raced, and, that we can make some adjustments at this point and move forward.
And now moving forward now, what are practice going to be like, since the next dual meet is not until January and against Northern Arizona? And by the way, that's a team you're quite familiar with from last season.
Right. Swimming's a little bit different than a lot of other sports in the fact that we don't have weekly contests typically. And so we're used to a break from the end of November until the beginning of January. So this is pretty normal. It might be extended about a week or two. So, we'll get back to, we evaluated their races this weekend and gave them some things to think about in upcoming workouts. Their fitness levels are there. So now we're going to be working on their skills and improving the things that they can at this point.
All right, Coach. It's always a pleasure getting to talk to you, having the opportunity to talk to you.
Yep.
And definitely best of luck to the rest of the season come January against Northern Arizona. Can't wait for that meet to come.
I appreciate it. Thanks for
Yeah.
reaching out.
Yeah, thank you for doing this interview.
And
Really
good luck.
appreciate it.
The Trailblazers' next dual meet will be in January at NAU. Great news for the women's track and field program this morning. DSU Director of Intercollegiate Athletics, Dr. Jason Booth, is appointing Derek Atkins as the new head coach for the women's track and field team. Atkins is coming to DSU after a 2-year stint as an assistant track coach at Western Carolina University. He helped guide the Academy Mounts to a men's indoor and outdoor championship sweep and a women's indoor runner-up finish last year. With Atkins' experience not only at coach, but as a former professional athlete as well, he can help develop the women's track and field program to be more successful. Breaking through with some more Know You Foe, we take a look at the DSU football team's spring opponents for its upcoming season. Up first is fellow FCS Independence member Tarleton State.
Going up top, looking for Lewis, and Lewis makes a great catch, fully extended out to the 38-yard line of the Texans.
The Texans had a very successful season with 11-1 overall record, 8-0 conference record, #1 in the Lone Star Conference, and made an appearance in the Division II NCAA playoffs. The Trailblazers will have the opportunity to face Tarleton State twice on the road and at Greater Zion Stadium.
Benji Franklin with it, climbing up the sideline, makes a man miss. He's into the end zone, pick six, touchdown, Tarleton.
In the other subdivision is FBS Independence, New Mexico State.
Jason Huntley is gone. Touchdown, 38 yards away.
The Aggies finished 2-10 last year, and it's understandable why they finished under 500 because of facing teams like Washington State, Alabama, and Ole Miss. So despite what the record says, there should be no reason for DSU to underestimate New Mexico State. Coming in from the Big South, we have Kennesaw State.
Again, the ability to run horizontally, not able to get Jonathan Murphy on the ground. Touchdown, Murphy, Kennesaw State.
The Owls had 11-3 overall record with a 5-1 conference record, finishing second in the Big South last season, and they made it to the second round of the FCS playoffs. This will be an interesting road matchup for the Trailblazers traveling all the way to Kennesaw, Georgia. DSU will see some familiar faces from the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference with a matchup against Fort Lewis and New Mexico Highlands. The Trailblazers were successful in beating both teams last year and will look to repeat the same success for their next games. Besides the dramatically condensed schedule, there still will be high-level competition to look forward to this coming spring season.
They're all good, dude. We just get to play, right? I mean, that's what we're excited about, to see the hard work we put in so far to this point in our semester, and then to get a chance to play next semester. It's that's what we're looking forward to. They're all awesome.
Overall, it should be a fun season for the Trailblazers to play in the spring and had the opportunity to play some new faces and old faces. Going back to the women's track and field coach, Coach Atkins now, looking at his resume reading this morning, it looks like he's the real deal for this program.
It gets a lot of people pumped to know that there is a track and field conversation going on. I feel like we're underrated as a former track and field athlete.
Yeah, and it gives Coach Decker for cross country a little bit of a breathing room, not taking care of so many teams at once.
Yeah, definitely taking a little bit off his plate so he can focus on men's and women's cross country.
Exactly.
Stay tuned. After the break, we'll be talking all things Thanksgiving.
Spending time outdoors has never felt more valuable. Whether it's exploring nature or relaxing in your yard, let's do it responsibly. Before going out, check for closures and fire restrictions. Practice social distancing, even when outside and on the trail. Back at home, if burning yard debris, keep your pile small. And no matter where you are, be sure to properly extinguish any outdoor fire. Drown, stir, drown, feel. We're all in this together. Help keep our safe places safe.
And to send you off with a little bit of seasonal fun, website Zippia has created a map of the most popular Thanksgiving sides by state. While some states love their green bean casserole or mashed potatoes, here in Utah, it's the rolls. There is nothing greater than mashed potatoes, and I'm super happy that California has that as their side dish.
I agree. Being from California as well, mashed potatoes, nothing wrong with it. And I wouldn't be opposed to some baked potatoes as well for Thanksgiving dinner.
Guys, I am from Illinois, and I don't know why it is what it is, but I need to be in the South because I love macaroni and cheese. So I'm obviously from the wrong place. And that's it for this week's edition of the Dixie Sun News at Noon.
We will see you here next week, same time, same place.
Have a great week, Trailblazers.